Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 25th Feb today, and in this video we are going to solve some important questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. But before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give the brief introduction about this initiative so that if you are new to our channel you will get more connected with us. Basically in this video we are going to solve three types of questions which would be taken from three different sources. So in this regard, in the first set of questions, in the first part of our discussion, we will discuss what we will do. We will take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We will try to break them down into the simplest language possible, and we will try to derive the possible prelims questions from those particular articles so that it will give you the idea which part of the newspaper is important for you, what should be your approach when you are reading these news articles, and how you can expect a possible prelims question from these particular articles. This is what we are going to do in the first part of our discussion. After solving questions with respect to current affairs, we will shift our approach to the second part. Here we will discuss a static topic. Currently we are discussing Indian polity. And in Indian polity we had discussed various topics, various important topics which are very much important for your preparation. Now from today we are going to discuss the office of the Prime Minister. We will discuss how does Constitution, what does Constitution say about it, what are the related acts you need to know. Today we are going to discuss that. So after we will discuss those topics, we will try to derive the possible prelims question from those topics so that it will give the idea how you can expect a question from such, how UPSC can frame a question from such discrete topics. After this, after discussing questions with respect to current affairs and the static part, we will shift our approach to the last part of our discussion. Here we will see your question book. To me, this is the most important part of our discussion because in here we will learn how actually UPSC frames the papers, what is the vocabulary they prefer to use, what are the different trends they prefer to follow for framing your papers. We will try to understand that. Also we'll try to understand what can be the different methods for by which you can apply in the exam if you don't have the proper knowledge of the question. What are the different elimination tricks related to that, we'll try to learn here. And also we'll try to understand how we can implement this knowledge in the upcoming exam. So this is in nutshell what we are going to do in this video. Now before we will start our discussion, I would like to request you guys, please do subscribe the channel. When you subscribe us, it motivates us, it boosts our confidence, and we would want to work more hard on these topics and provide you the best information possible. So please do subscribe us, do share our video with others so that they may also get benefited from this initiative, and also do write in the comments what do you feel about the video. Now without any delay, let's have a look at the first question which we had brought today. As here on the screen you can clearly see that the question is with respect to the Special Marriage Act 1954. Now before going to the context of this question why we brought it here, first let us solve the question, then we'll brief its context and give the proper idea about it. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding the Special Marriage Act 1954. First statement, it allows the marriage between persons belonging to different religions. About Special Marriage Act, why it was framed, why it was brought in, because in India we don't have the uniform civil code. When we don't have the uniform civil code, so the marriage, the institution of marriage, divorce, and other inheritance, they were very much very much under the control of the religious institutions. So they were governed by religious institutions, if I will be more clear with respect to that. And because of this, there is definitely the scope of bias from any religion. For example, if two persons want to marry, so if they belong to different religions, religious books, what does religion come here, they would prefer to convert that person to particular religion. So there are huge concerns with respect to that. If we will take into the consideration of the constitutional morality and what society believes in now, what society has, how society has evolved since then. So definitely there was a need for the Special Marriage Act, and it was brought in. So with respect to this is the first statement. It allows for marriages between persons belonging to different religions. Second statement, it says it provides for a mandatory 30-day public notice period before the solemnization of marriage. This is one of the drawback related to the Special Marriage Act. It provides provides mandatory 30-day public notice. So with respect to this question, the statement is 100% correct. But why we are discussing this article today is because of this drawback which is associated with the Special Marriage Act. Then the third statement, it says it applies to citizens of India residing within India only. No, this is totally incorrect because it applies to the citizens of India whether within India or they are living outside. So the third statement is incorrect. Now the fourth statement, it says it allows for the registration of existing marriages. 100% correct. It allows for the registration of existing marriages so that the legal stance will be given to them. So with respect to this question, if we want to answer it, the answer to this question would be option 1, option 2 and option 4 are correct with respect to this question. So the correct option would be option B, that is 1, 2 and 4 only. Now here is the question, the main question which you could ask me, sir, why we had brought this question. The reason why we had brought this question is because of the survey, which was recently done, that has highlighted the issue with the intra-marriage or intra-caste in our country. The survey was done by the National Family Health. They had brought up the report, the National Family Health Survey. They had brought up the report and they had highlighted that only 10% Indian marriages, only 10% Indian marriages or had done intra-caste or intra-marriage, intra-religion marriages. Only 10% of all the marriages in India who had gone beyond their castes and had married to anybody who belongs to the other religion. So what does it mean? 90% of Indians right now, 90% of Indians, they marry within their castes. 90% of the Indians marry within their caste. So this is one of the issue which has highlighted why we had brought this topic here. And also within this 10% who marry within their caste, there is a catch that social hierarchy still exists. These inter-caste marriages are mostly done between the two upper castes of the which we follow in our society. Between the two upper castes of our society, these inter-caste marriages are done. So this is the issue. We had never seen a Brahman marrying a Dalit. This is one of the major drawback in our society, that we still follow this caste hierarchy. So this, it has highlighted this. And also in this, one important thing which was highlighted, that only 5% in our country are between between the couples belonging to two different religions, only 5%. So the author here puts up the question, what is the hindrance to it? What is the major hindrance to it? Why there are least inter-caste marriages between two different castes, or marriages between two religious people belonging to two religions? What are the hindrance to that? And to this, the author has highlighted two major issues, if we can subdivide them. One major issue which the author has highlighted is of the societal norms, the society which puts on its people, the norms by the society, the pressure from the society, and the thing which it has highlighted, that lack of lack of legislation with respect to that. Even though we have the Special Marriage Act, but still there is some drawbacks which can be misused by the people in the social sector. If we will see what are the pressures put forward by the society, first one, this huge judgment from the society. For example, if anybody goes for the inter-religion marriage or inter caste marriage, they are highly judged. They are outcasted from the society. So this is one of the pressure which they face. Then also, there are there is moral policing with respect that if anybody, we had seen mob attacks on the people. If anybody goes for these intercaste marriages, there are moral policing is happening. Then the third, we had seen honor killings. This is also one of the issue. Also the fourth thing which we are seeing, the caste system, which is still very much alive in our society, that if anybody belongs to any caste, that he is the upper caste person and another is the lower caste person. This belief in the caste system is one of the hindrance. And also history of communal clashes. This is also one of the one of the issues with respect that the communal clashes which had happened in our country. Because of all these things, if we connect them all, these are the reasons for why such marriages are not encouraged in our society. And if we look at the legal perspective of this, what are the legal hindrance to the legal barriers to the intra marriage or intra caste or uh, intra religion marriages. One of them is the we don't have the proper legal system with respect to that, even though we know that the religion, it is affairs of the religion. For example, societal affairs like marriage, they come very much under the religious laws. We don't have the uniform civil code with respect to that. Because of that, the laws which the religion frames to its people, they are very much stringent. We can say, they favor in different way. People follow religion in different way, and if they want to marry, if they want to go for the inter religion marriages, then one person has to convert, and there are always chances that there could be the forceful conversions. This is one of the issue. And also when these forceful convergence is the issue there, so there would be more moral policing on the people who go for interreligious marriages, that there would be unnecessary legal issues related that persons that woman is forced to marry, or she was forced to convert. We had even seen the we can highlight the examples of the Bollywood celebrities here, that how they had also faced such issues when they went for the intra religion marriages. So this is also one of the issue. And even though we have some religious acts, some special, like we have Special Marriage Act 1954, but still there are drawbacks associated with it. As the major drawback is it provides for a mandatory 30-day public notice. When this public notice is provided, it can it can highlight, it can invade the privacy of the people, and people will come to know what they are going to do, and there will be more mob pressure on them. There could be the societal pressure with respect to that, and it can definitely damage the morale of the two persons, and they would withdraw from this marriage. So these are few of the drawbacks associated with it, and the reason why we brought this question, I hope I had clearly mentioned it here, and I hope you had clearly understood the question. Now with this, let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Here, as you can see on the screen, the question is with respect to the Section 8 of the Right to Information Act 2005. Why we had brought this question here? First, we will not discuss that. We will first go to the question and try to understand it, what this Section 8 of the Right to Information Act 2005 deals about. Here the question says, which of the following statements accurately reflect the provisions of Section 8 of the Right to Information Act 2005? First statement, it mandates the disclosure of all information held by public authorities regardless of its nature. Totally incorrect. Even though the Right to Information Act, the main motive of that is that they should disclose all the information held by public authorities, but with respect to Section 8, it is incorrect. Second statement, it outlines the procedure for filing appeals against decisions of public information officers. No, it does not outline that. This is also incorrect. Third statement, it specifies the exemptions from the disclosure of information under the Act. 100% correct. This is the correct answer to this question, what this Section 8 of the Right to Information Act deals with. So we understood, now here we understood what this Section 8 is about. Now let's see why we had brought this question here. There was an article in the newspaper which talked about that the right to information has now becoming the right to deny the information. It is very interesting topic which the author had highlighted in today's newspaper, that right to information, which was brought in so that the people would know how the government is working, how where they are spending the funds, how the public institutions are working, how the government institutions are working, how they are working for the people. It was the right to inform. It was a right of the every citizen in our country, but because of its stringent regulations, because of its tough criteria to provide it, it has become the right to deny now. In a way, it has become right to deny the information. So with respect to that, the author has highlighted what are the various mechanisms in which we can get this information, how we can get this information. For example, we have to go to public information officers, and within 30 days, the first step would be, we will go to if we want information about anybody, we will go to public information officer. Within 30 days, he has to give us the information. Suppose he would deny it, then we will go to information commissioners, then we will go to central information commissioners. So this was the way, first request to the public information officer. Within 30 days, he has to give us. If he denies, we have to appeal to the higher officer, to the public information commissioner. Public information commissioner. The first step would be public information officer, sorry. If he would deny it within 30 days, he has to give us the answer. If he would deny, then we will go to the senior officer, to him. If he and senior officers should also give us answer within 30 days. If he will deny, then we will go to the central information commissioners, or in state, if it is state based, then we will go through state information commissioners. So this had been the mechanism, or we can say this is the manner in which we can seek the information, and if it is denied, so how we can go to the higher officials. But here the catch is why we discussed this question, because in the Right to Information Act, there is a section, which is section 8, which highlights that on few instances, that if you are asking for the information, that information can't be granted. For example, if you are if it violates, if it in a way, if it any way harms the security of the nation, if it harms the friendly relation with any foreign country or any other. But one of the thing which, usually we understand those things, but one of the thing which has got the eyeballs is the personal information. So here the author says, how can you define this personal information? If for example you are charging any public officer, you are charging him of any corruption, and you would want his personal information, that how much money he is having, how much, what are his properties, what are his properties of his spouses. So what would be the personal, would it contain the personal information that time? So there is a need of the definition of this personal information. If this, majority of the appeals which are given to them are rejected, and according to the survey, the Central Information Commission, it has only answered less than 2500 cases per year, which is very much less as compared to, if we will see what high courts are answering to. So there is very less information given out from the Central Information Commission, and the one of the reason is that the information you are seeking is of the personal information nature, and this is the one of the drawback, or we can say one of the way you can deny the information under section 8 of the Right to Information Act 2005. So with this, I hope you had got the understanding. What does the author here highlight? That there should be the proper definition of this personal information. What does it mean? What are the properties included in it? What are the questions included in it? This should be very much clearly explained to the people. Otherwise, this would be misused. The bureaucrats, they will deny the information with respect to this clause of this section 8 of the Right to Information Act. With this, I hope you had got the basic understanding of this question, as well as the context of this question. With this, let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Here, as you can see, the question is with respect to generic drugs. This is one of the major source of Indian pharmacy, as pharmacy of the world India is called. It is because of the generic drugs. So here, let's understand the question first, then we'll go to the context of the question. Here the question says generic drugs. First question says, consider the following statements regarding generic drugs. First statement: generic drugs are bioequivalent to their brand name. Bioequivalent to their brand name. Counterparts, meaning they can contain the same active ingredients in the same dosage, form and strength. 100% correct. They are the counterparts of the brand name. They are, you can say, generic drugs are bioequivalent to their brand name. I would explain you. For example, if anybody is going for he is going to make any medicine, he will do his research. There would be a lot of money would be involved with respect to that. Once all the experiments are done, and finally the results are positive, then why would he give that information? Why would he give that that medicine easily to the people? He will file for the patents. Once he will file for the patents, that there would be time period for what time he would use it. After that time period experiences, then comes the point of the generic drugs. The other pharma industries, they will come up, they will take up the procedure followed by that person or that company, and they will start making these drugs, and they would be named in a different way. There would be different brand names to those drugs. So in this way, this genetic drugs works. They are equivalent, they are bioequivalent to their brand name counterparts. So first statement is 100% correct. Second statement, it says generic drugs undergo the same rigorous clinical trials as brand name drugs. Clinical trials as brand name drugs to demonstrate safety and efficacy. Totally incorrect. Even though there are some clinical trials, but not as rigorous as the as a brand drugs, so as a brand name drugs. So this is totally incorrect. Otherwise it would have been at the same cost as the brand name drugs were off. So this statement is totally incorrect. Third statement, generic drugs are typically less expensive than brand name drugs due to low research and developmental costs. 100% correct. So here you can analyze one thing. 2 and 3 cannot adjust in one statement. When 2 and 3 can't adjust in one statement, we can easily, these are ways you can answer in the question. Look at the opposite statements and find out in which statement they exist together. So in this way we can eliminate the options. As here we can see option 2 and option 3 cannot exist together, so we can easily eliminate option D and option C. Now we are left with option 1 A and option B. So this third statement is correct. When we are left with option 3 and option 4, then definitely if we can see, we can eliminate this option also, and we can directly, as only one option is left with option which contains 1, 3 and 4, that is option B. So we can easily answer our question. But let's have a look at the fourth statement also. The fourth statement says the regulatory approval process for generic drugs focus primarily on demonstrating bioequivalence. 100% correct. So with respect to this question, what are the correct statements? Correct statements are statement 1, statement 3 and statement 4 only. Now coming to the topic, why we had brought this question. We had seen how from COVID-19 itself, how India was the pharmacy of the world, how India supplied its medicine to the world, especially in the global south. But unfortunately, as India is submitting this medicine to these people, unfortunately there are a few cases which has arose from the Africa itself, that many people died after consuming these cough syrups made by Indian companies. And it has raised questions with respect to the generic drugs, how efficient they are, how they are made, and if and their efficiency, and are they really the replacement of the brand drugs. This is one of the issue. It has been highlighted. And also many drugs which are made by the which are made by these companies. For example, there was a case of a fixing fixed drug there was a case of the fixed dose combination of the done by AVO Pharmacy, which is in Hyderabad. AVO Pharmacy has done a fixed dose combination of two drugs, namely tipentadol and carisoprodol. So these are, there are few drugs which you cannot mix unnecessarily. You need to have the permission of the Central Drug Standard Control Organization for that. They had not taken the permission, and they had mixed these two drugs, and they are highly addictive. And it has been found that these two drugs are highly consumed in the Africa, and people are getting addicted to this. And because of all this, it has raised the question on the generic drugs made by India, whether it is really efficient, or it is in a way very harmful for the people. That's why we had discussed this topic here. With this, let's move to the another question and see what we had brought there on the next slide. Here the question is with respect to the with respect to astronauts. What are the what are the different problems they face when they are doing the space travel? What are the problems they face with respect to their body, or we can say with respect to their health? What are the different problems they face when they are in space travel? So that we will understand in this question. Here the question says, which of the following physiological changes are commonly observed in astronauts during and after prolonged space travel? First statement, increased bone density, totally incorrect. There is definitely decreased bone density because there is no gravity, and it definitely impacts the density of the bone of that particular person, astronauts. Second, cardiovascular deconditioning, 100% correct. Muscle atrophy, breakdown of muscle, 100% correct. And visual impairment due to intracranial pressure change, 100% correct. So with respect to this question, what are the changes which these astronauts face, are option 2, option 3 and option 4. So with this, I hope you had understood this topic also. Now with this, let's move to the last question from the current affairs part, then we will shift towards the static portion. Here the question is from the Simply Pearl Tiger Reserve. Let's see what does the question say. Question says, consider the following statements regarding the Simply Pearl Tiger Reserve. First statement, it is located in the eastern Ghats of Odisha, 100% correct. Second, it is known for its unique population of melanistic tigers, 100% correct. They would be either different colors. They won't have the yeah, that yellow strips won't be there. It would be melanistic, the melanistic tigers would be there. Third statement, the reserve encompasses a significant portion of the Mayurbhanj elephant reserve, 100% correct. Fourth statement, the core area of Simplipal is designated UNESCO's heritage site, totally incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3 only. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. With this, I hope you had got the basic understanding of Simlipal Tiger Reserve. And now let's move to the another part of our discussion where we will solve a static part question. Here, sorry, we had one more question related from the current affairs that we will discuss here. It is about the Deinococcus radiodurans bacteria. Durans bacteria, this bacteria can can survive the highest rays. That's why it is in the news. And there was a question with respect to that in the newspaper. So let's solve this question with respect to it. The question says, consider the following statements regarding Deinococcus radiodurans bacteria. First statement, it is known for its extreme tolerance of ionizing radiation, 100% correct. Nothing wrong with the statement. It can tolerate 6,000 gamma rays, 6,000 times gamma rays. Second, its DNA repair mechanisms are exceptionally efficient, 100% correct. It is primarily found in deep sea hydrothermal vents. This is incorrect. It is found in variety of regions. So this statement is incorrect. Fourth statement, it is the thermophilic bacterium thriving in high temperature environments. It is basically, it is not thermophilic. It is not associated with the high temperatures, but it is associated with the high range of rays, which are, for example, gamma rays and all that stuff. So it is not thermophilic, it is different. So this statement is incorrect. It is not about the temperature, high temperature environments. It is not about it. So this statement is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. With this, we complete our discussion with respect to current affairs question. Now let's move to the another part of our discussion where we will solve some static topic question. Now, as you can see here, today's static topic is about the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. To understand this, to understand the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers and their relation with the President, we have to understand first the Article 74. And before we understand Article 74, we should know what does the executive branch of the Union government consist of. The executive branch of the union government consists of the president, it consists of the vice president, and it consists of the council of ministers headed by whom? It is headed by the prime minister. Now we understood what this executive branch consists of. Now we need to understand their relationship. To understand this relationship, we need to understand Article 74 of the Indian Constitution. So to understand Article 74, we need to answer this question first, then only we can get to know what does it talk about. Here the question says, consider the following statements regarding Article 74 of the Indian Constitution. First statement, it mandates there shall be a council of ministers with the prime minister at the head to aid and advise the president. So there should be the council of ministers which is headed by the prime minister who will aid and advise the president. Now there was a question whether this advice is binding on the president. There was always confusion, and it was solved through the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, which highlighted that this advice is binding on the president. President has to follow it in any way. As we know, the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, it is highly controversial, and this point was, by the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act, this was reverted, this point was highlighted, and there one thing was added that this the president of India can, what he can do once this advice is given, or he can render it back, he can return the advice for reconsideration. Once he can he can return the advice for reconsideration. And if the parliament feels, if the council of ministers feel to respect that, they can respect it. If they won't feel so, they will send it back, then only the president has to add it. So it in a way gave the president some powers with respect to this article 74, how president can deal with it. So That is important for you to understand. Second statement with respect to this, it specifies that the advice tendered by the Council of Ministers shall be binding on the President. Totally incorrect. We saw that how it was, controversial, how it has been controversial. Third statement, it explicitly outlines the procedure for the selection of and appointment of the Council of Ministers. Totally incorrect. Fourth statement, it allows the President to refer the advice of the Council of Ministers back for reconsideration once. What does it say? It allows the President to refer the advice. 100% correct. It was brought through the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act. So with respect to this question, the correct statements would be statement 1 and statement 4 only. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. So with this, we understood, we got the basic understanding about the Prime Minister and the Union Council of Ministers and their relation with the President. What does the executive branch of the Union government consist of? We understood that. And also, how does Article 74 deal with the relation between Council of Ministers and the President, and how 44th Amendment Act brought some provisions which in a way gave some powers to the president with respect to this. So with this, I hope you had understood the topic, and also you can answer any question related to it if any question would be asked in the exam. Now with this, let's move to the last part of our discussion where we will solve a previous year question. As you know, currently we had started to discuss the world political geography, and this question was asked in 1996. Let's see what was the question. The question says about 50% of the world population is concentrated between the latitudes of, it is very simple, between the latitudes of 20° north and 40° north. So this is very much factual, and also this is very much common sense based. We know where India is, where China is. We can easily answer this question. So where UK is, we know the region where from these countries are, where in which part they are. And also we know that in the southern hemisphere there are least concentration of population. So this is very much easy, this could have been solved very much easily. So with this, we completed today's discussion. I hope you would have liked the video. I hope you would share it with your friends, and I definitely hope you would subscribe this channel. And if there is any confusion, please do write in the comments. We'll try to reach out to you guys. With this, I'd like to thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.